The Magicians foreshadowed Season three's heartbreaking plot twist in the first season. The Magicians Season 1 lays the groundwork for the entire dark fantasy show, including foreshadowing a heartbreaking plot twist in Season 3. From 2015 to 2020, the series was released on Sci-Fi, introducing audiences to Breakville's University and the students destined to save the world of Fillory. Like many viewers, I became obsessed with the show early on, and I've watched all 5 seasons of The Magicians countless times. The fantasy TV show is almost perfect, and every time I rewatch it, I find a new reason to love The Magicians. The world and characters are complex, with the smallest details factoring into the bigger picture. In my most recent binge watch, I discovered a quippy line in The Magicians Season 1 that foreshadows a heartbreaking Season 3 twist, showing just how much thought went into the writing. In The Magicians Season 1, Episode 5, Mendings, Major and Minor, Quentin struggles to cope with his father's cancer diagnosis. Margot explains that the ability to tap into magic comes from pain, and Quentin responds, "What kind of system is that? You know, why can't it run on love or cocaine or something?" This deeply emotional moment is Quentin's attempt at coping with humor, which he does frequently throughout the dark fantasy show. The fact that he lives in the physical kid's cottage makes the cocaine comment seem unremarkable. However, the line has more significance than it seems at first glance. The reference to magical cocaine foreshadows the disturbing fairy storyline in The Magicians Season 3. For those who need a refresher, when magic is out in Season 3, Julia discovers that the McAllister family has secret fairy slaves on Earth. Fairies don't tap into magic like other species. Instead, they are literally made of magic. To retain their magic, the family saws off the limbs of the fairies while they are still alive, grinding their bones and snorting them like cocaine. When it comes to the darkest storylines of The Magicians, it's hard to rank them. However, it's much easier to narrow these moments down to the most heartbreaking. Aside from the sexual assaults of Julia and Michael Chatwin, which tie for first place, I'd consider the fairy slavery story the most heartbreaking storyline from start to finish. The Fairy Queen makes the ultimate sacrifice under the agreement that the fairies would permanently be free and protected in Fillory. Slavery is a tragedy. Even without anything else, the story would have been upsetting. However, the fact that they physically dismember the fairy slaves while they're alive makes it feel so much more sinister. On top of that, multiple people play a role in perpetuating the fairy slavery. Not a single one of the McAllisters has a problem with what's happening. The library, the most powerful group of master magicians, knows what the McAllisters are doing but doesn't try to stop it. Then, when someone finally steps up to help them, it's all for naught. Julia and Finn convince the Fairy Queen to step in. She makes the ultimate sacrifice under the agreement that the fairies would permanently be free and protected in Fillory. It's a powerful and emotional moment that solidifies the Fairy Queen as one of the best one-season characters in The Magicians. However, in Season 5, the fairies are back to being oppressed and killed, making the Fairy Queen's death harder to swallow. The magic cocaine line in The Magicians Season 1 is just one example of many where the fantasy series foreshadows later twists, a testament to the series' excellent writing. The entire first season drops hints that Julia will get raped. A penny line in Season 2 hints that Quentin will die before the end of The Magicians. Zelda makes a comment foreshadowing Penny's death and his afterlife with the library. There's just so much thought that went into weaving together a compelling story. The great writing extends to other parts of the sci-fi show as well. The magic system is also detailed and consistent throughout the series, which isn't always the case with fantasy. Every individual, including minor characters, feels fleshed out in The Magicians. Even when they make decisions I hate, I still have to admit that they fit within the character arc. Ultimately, the writing is just one of the many factors that make The Magicians one of the best dark fantasy TV shows of all time.